Since 1992, the UK economy kept growing every single quarter until something strange happened in 2008, and it suddenly began to shrink. Today, London is still one of the richest cities in the world, with a $769 billion economy, nearly as big as Norway's. But behind the wealth and beauty, there are darker chapters hiding in plain sight. Let's begin with something most people feel every single day: money, or the lack of it. In the UK, wages have barely changed in over 15 years. Even though people are working hard, they're not getting richer. After adjusting for inflation, the average worker makes just £16 more per week than in 2010. That's like getting a small sandwich extra after working more than a decade. While pay stays the same, prices of things like rent, food, and gas keep going up. Housing is especially tough. For many young people, doctors, nurses, and even teachers, the pay is just enough to live a decent life. That's why many of them are packing their bags and leaving for countries like the United States. They can make almost double the money, even if it costs more to live there. UK's health service, the NHS, is losing staff fast. They can't take the long hours, low pay, and stressful work anymore. At the same time, many British workers are leaving the country, and people from other nations are moving in. This might sound confusing, but here's the thing. Britain is still seen as a good place for education and work, so thousands come every year, while thousands also leave. In 2024, around 431,000 more people came to the UK than left. Just a year before, that number was over 900,000, highest ever recorded. But here's the twist. The people leaving often have college degrees and skills, while the new arrivals are often students or temporary workers. That's causing something called a brain drain, where smart, skilled people leave and the country is left with fewer experts. Even if you do have a job in the UK, it doesn't mean life is easy. In fact, in 2022 to 2023, around 24 million people were living below what's called the minimum income standard, MIS. That's more than 1 out of every 3 people. MIS is the income needed to live a basic, decent life. Nothing fancy, just enough to afford clothes, food, transport, and a warm place to sleep. Saddest part? Most of these people are already working. 2 out of every 3 households below the MIS have someone with a job. Young adults, it's even worse. Over half of those aged 16 to 24 can't meet basic living standards. Poor in the UK are now poorer than poor in countries like Slovenia and Malta. How did things get this bad? Part of the answer goes back to 2008, when a massive financial crisis hit the world. UK got hit hard. Banks in Britain had invested in risky American loans. When those loans failed, money vanished overnight. One major bank, Northern Rock, nearly collapsed and had to be rescued by the government. The crisis was caused by risky behavior, weak rules, and a lack of smart planning. People lost jobs, homes, and savings. Since then, the economy has never fully recovered. Even today, wages haven't caught up and housing prices have only climbed higher. Now, nowhere is the pain clearer than in housing. The UK simply doesn't have enough homes that people can afford. Some say just build more houses, but here's the truth. The problem isn't just about how many homes exist, it's about what kind of homes are being built and for whom. There are more homes in the UK than there are families, yet 320,000 families are on social housing wait list in London alone. Most newly built homes are expensive, and rents are rising fast. The cost of buying or renting a home is so high that it swallows up people's paychecks. And when homes are built on protected land like the Greenbelt, it leads to more population and fewer green spaces without solving the real issue of affordability. When rent becomes too much to handle, families get evicted and end up in something called temporary accommodation. These places are often small, dirty, moldy, and unsafe. Children miss school. Parents lose their jobs. Some families move from one place to another every few weeks, never knowing where they'll sleep next. By the end of September 2024, 126,000 families in England were living in temporary housing. Among them were over 150,000 children. That's the highest number since records began. Some families are placed in emergency shelters like B&Bs. Even though by law, they're only supposed to stay there for 6 weeks. Many stay much longer. And these numbers don't even count the ones you don't see. Families sleeping on couches, in cars, or crammed into tiny apartments with other families. It's a silent crisis. Leading reason? People are being kicked out of rented homes they can no longer afford. In today's United Kingdom, young people are facing problems their parents never had to think about. A long time ago, most people could dream of owning a home one day. But now many young adults can't afford it all and are forced to rent for life. A study by UK Youth found that over half of young people, 54%, say the cost of living has hurt their mental health. Even worse, 76% are worried about getting a good job in the future. Some are even skipping meals, turning off the heat, or staying home just to save money. As young people struggle, the UK's work productivity is also going down. In early 2025, workers were actually doing less than they were a year before. One reason is that the country is not investing enough in important things like research, new ideas, and training. Other countries like Germany, France, and the United States are doing better because they invest more in their people and technology. UK has also fewer skilled workers and not enough strong leaders in businesses. All this means is that the country is falling behind in making things better and faster. And the unfortunate thing that can ever happen to any country is that the NHS, the UK's health system, is supposed to help everyone. But right now it's struggling badly. Population is getting older and more people need care. The NHS got a record £165 billion in funding for 2024 and 2025, but it's still not enough. Hospitals are full, doctors are overworked, and surgeries are delayed. By spring 2025, more than 7.5 million people were waiting for planned treatment. Staff are quitting because they're burned out or not getting paid fairly. Plus, many hospital buildings are old and falling apart. Without more help, the NHS can't keep up. Additionally, the UK once had big dreams of connecting its cities with high-speed trails through a project called HS2, but it has turned into a big failure. First, it was supposed to cost £40 billion, but now it costs over £130 billion. Even worse, the most important parts of the trail line, the ones that would connect northern cities to London, were canceled. The rest might not even reach central London. Countries like France and Spain build high-speed trains much faster and cheaper. The UK spends far more money per mile because of bad planning, expensive tunnels, and too many changes made to please politicians. This shows how hard it is for the UK to finish big, important projects. But that's not all. When the UK left the European Union, many people hoped it would bring more control and success, but instead it caused a lot of problems. Businesses now have to follow new rules, pay more to trade goods, and face delays. Before Brexit, workers could come from other EU countries to help with jobs. Now labor shortages are hurting farms, factories, and shops. Investment from other countries has dropped and many companies are unsure about the future. Some experts say business investment in the UK would have been 12.4% higher in 2023 if Brexit had never happened. While not the only cause, Brexit has made the UK's economic problems even worse. In the end, United Kingdom today faces deep challenges from struggling youth and a sinking health system to weak productivity, broken infrastructure, and the lasting damage of Brexit. These issues didn't appear overnight, and they won't go away quickly. The UK's past choices, like cutting investments and depending too much on quick money from financial services, are now showing painful results. Even if a new government steps in, fixing the damage will take years, maybe decades. If you found this eye-opening, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more.